Hello, my tea stirrers, my coffee drinkers, and my wine sippers. And if not, we got some water on the side. Today is going to be a good one by Dr. SHAHRAZAD Ali. SHAHRAZAD Ali. The Black Man's Guide to Understanding the Black Woman. There's going to be a lot of truth to this video. You may not like what she got to say. You might not like it. A lot of people don't like the truth. You may go, no. But keep in mind, this video is over 30 years old. And this is what I try to explain to you when I do these videos. Hey, Foot Soldier. Hey, Queen. I try to explain to you guys. They may be old, but nothing has changed. She's still living today. Actually, 30 years later, she still looked the same. She still looked the same. She's still preaching the same thing. But there's a lot of ugly truths in here that a lot of women is not going to agree with, because we don't believe that we have mess. We know men have mess. We can point out all of their mess, but we can't point out our mess. We can't point out how we can do better. Every day you're supposed to learn something and point out your mess. But with no further ado, we're going to check out Miss SHAHRAZAD Ali. Understand the Black Man's Guide to Understanding a Black Woman. I think this video was good 30 years ago, and it's still good today. It's also a book. You can still find it on Amazon. And she have done other countless things since then. And I'm going to show you guys. I remember way back when she would take it to the mat, and exactly. We're going to check her out. We're going to check it out. We're going to check it out. Then we're going to have an open panel. Whoever like to talk about it, we're going to talk about it. But we're going to play this right now.
Association of Conscious Black Women for having the courage to invite me here. I think that most of you have heard, read, or seen something about my book around the country. I've been on a national tour for 12 months. And I'm doing the lecture tour to reach a lot of our people who perhaps got the wrong understanding from television. Television shows are designed in a certain way by the producers of those shows to exploit whatever the idea is that's being presented so as to get high ratings. And so they have kind of had me back against the wall. And so I'm doing the lecture tour so that I could go around and perhaps give our people a little relief, because so many things have been taken out of context and it has created a lot of confusion. My position is that the Black woman's disrespect and rebellion against the leadership and the authority of the Black man is a direct cause of the breakdown in our Black family structure. Now, of course, there are many Black people who consider those fighting words, because as Black women, we have never been subject to the kind of examination that our men have been subject to since we have been here. We have been somewhat protected and shielded from any kind of critiquing about our personal behavior, whereas our men have always been up for examination. The book is not an attack on Black women. I have never said that all Black women do everything that I list in my book. None of us have lived long enough to do everything that I list in the book, but most of us do some of the things that I've listed in my book. And I do say that it is not because of generalizations that we are all victimized by some of the negative patterns of behavior in the book, but the book just represents our collective contribution. This is some of everything that we have done or that we do daily that contributes to the breakup of our relationship, the destruction of our man, and the failure of our children to be able to function. They did not tell us that all of that being my own person and I'm independent would lead to separation, loneliness, celibacy, and lesbianism. They didn't tell us that if you give up the man, you're going to take one of these things and it's worse and it will destroy your nation. They didn't give us that information. They made us think that it was some kind of glorified position to brag about the fact that I got my own job, my own credit card, my own car, so I don't need no man. I don't even know how we got that mixed up. Ain't none of that got nothing to do with being with no man. We have some serious relationship problems that nobody has been able to address us on because everybody wants to pretend that this is not going on. Over 60% of our women are single, widowed, separated, or divorced. They don't have a man. I just came out of Florida and they got a housing complex that the Urban League built, which is a Black organization that is for women and children only. They say they don't allow any men in there. I didn't have time to deal with it, but I talked about them real bad. That's the silliest program I've ever heard of. The women that had men, if they got a bunch of children, they need fathers. They need protection. We hear about the drug problem that we have in our projects across the country. It's one of the major places that we have a drug problem. We talk about the great strength that we have as Black women. Well, the welfare department don't rent government apartments to single Black men. Those apartments belong to Black women who are allowing this to go on in their home. We have not looked at what part of the responsibility do we share. Yes, Black men sell a lot of drugs, and a lot of us Black women get the money from them drugs and buy some of these fancy clothes we wear, drive around in some of these fancy cars. He is not doing these things alone and without support from us, whether they are good or bad. See, we have a lot of power. We are very strong women. I'm saying that we're using our strength in the wrong direction. We're using it to tear our man down, tear our nation down instead of building it up. Having an education and a job does not necessarily mean you have a successful life. I keep telling Black women that to raise a child, they say, well, I provided with food, clothing, and shelter. That's not raising a child, that's maintaining one. To raise a child, you need a parental coalition of a man and a woman. We have sons who, by not having a father in the home, they don't know how to respect women. They take on the Black female emotionalism. They become bitchy, they're doubtful, they're indecisive, they can't make a decision. They don't know what to do about being a man because we can't teach them that. We don't have that knowledge. We have daughters who grow up in a home where they don't see any affection, where there's no man there. They go out into the world and try to mate. They don't have no idea how to be no woman to no man, how to function in a house with a man, because they haven't seen it. Most of our children, just like us, get all the information we have about how you be with a mate off television. It's the only medium that shows us anybody being together. Those rules have not worked for us. The white woman's liberation movement, we don't have anything to do with that. We have not been under the control of the Black man for over 500 years. So what do we have to get liberated from them from? They haven't been our boss. That's the white woman and her man. They're going through that, and that's their business. We don't have any business being in there. They only introduced it to break down the civil rights movement. Civil rights movement started with the Black man, the Black woman, and the Black child standing together, trying to plead for freedom, justice, and equality, and more benefits in the country that they had to have built. They threw the white woman in there with the women's liberation movement and made it a woman against man thing. That created a big separation between Black men and Black women because then everybody started going for self. Then they bring the welfare system in and tell us in order to feed and clothe and house our children, we have to give up our man. You have to put the man out of the house. When the white farm wife goes to the government for subsidy for the farm, they don't tell her to get rid of the farmer. They keep that family together. But in the Black community, they make it a requirement because they want to keep endorsing into the Black community that the Black man is no good and that he is not deserving of respect. He is not deserving of us letting him give us any protection or instruction, and that we are better than them. The major responsibility that the Black woman has had on the earth for the trillions of years that we have been here has been one of nutrition and birthing children. Those two things have a great deal to do with the survival of any people, the reproduction of the nation, and feeding them the proper food so that they can live. Those are very important jobs. Those are very powerful positions because it puts us in a position to decide who's going to live or die and how slow they're going to die by what we feed them. We have a very powerful position. That's not a small role that we play. We have just been taught to misrepresent and misuse that power. The people who we have been counting on to give us the truth about how to get along have failed. The white people don't know how to get along. They don't have that information themselves. They don't get along with nobody on earth. So they didn't have no information to impart to us about how we're supposed to get along. They changed their relationship rules at will. We have, tons of black children around this country that I hear from who have grown up traumatized by the fact that they were referred to as the outside child. When we were having children like that, they called it illegitimate children until the white woman started having them, and that's single parenting. See, they changed the rules according to what they're doing. So I've called on our people to change them depending on what we want to do, what our needs are. There's another need that has not been addressed in our community, because nobody will deal with it, and that's one that God did not create three sexes. We only have men and women. Now, I have not said that we should reject the sisters who try and act like men and the men who try and act like women. I'm not saying to reject them from among us, but they need to be taught. We don't have to accept that as some kind of normalcy, because that's not normal. But because now the white people are practicing that, when we were doing it, we were punks and faggots. Now that they're doing it, now it's an alternative lifestyle. I'm trying to demonstrate how they have set rules that they have forced us to follow that they don't even follow themselves. They change the rules to suit them when they get ready. We can change them to suit us when we get ready, especially if we have what we have now, which is a failing system. It hasn't worked for us. We don't have to be ashamed that it hasn't worked for us. But we do have to be ashamed of the fact that we keep plodding behind it and not trying to make the corrections that will help our people to survive.
So I had to start saying that he was over you in charge. He has just been ruling us with an idea. And that idea is that you ain't nothing, that everybody else is. So coming up out of that idea this year, sisters don't have any idea what it can be like for us to have 15, 20 million black men walk around America feeling good about themselves. Because he wants to keep us in this condition. He wants to keep us separated from our man. Because he knows that the only door, the only route he has to destroy our black man is through the black woman. Doesn't matter what the woman's educational background is. In fact, we have proven that the more education we get, the more ignorant we get in front of our man. I'm glad that the book is being circulated around here, and I would like to think that we are happy that we have something else to sell each other than A-Line, Tupperware, and Wood. Sometimes these words sound like that I'm saying that now you ought to go home and bow down on your knees to your man or become subjugated or submit. We have a real hard time with that word submit. We have to look at what the submit means. Submit only means to agree. And we submit to a lot of things every day. We submit to a style of dress that white people made up. Yeah. We submit to our white bosses on our job. That's right. We submit to who we gonna smile at so we can make sure we get ahead in the door. We submit to how we gonna put makeup on our face so we can look acceptable. We agree on a lot of things. Submit just means to agree. So we have submitted to everybody else here. Let's try submitting to him.
And yes, I have charged that our educational class has failed us. They have not represented our needs. All they got was a job. I gave them 30 years to present us with a program, a national project, an agenda that we could work on to improve our homes, and it never did arrive. The only thing they gave us was a welfare program, and we know that that failed. The reason that I wrote the book, certainly, which is a classic question that I'm asked all over the country, I wrote the book because we represent the missing link as Black women. The Black man has been dissected, examined, the white man, the white woman, and the Black child. But it has been us as Black women who have never been examined. We have been protected, we have been insulated, we have been kept from any kind of criticism about our personal behavior in the home and outside of the home. And we have been given the false compliment that we are the backbone of the Black nation. There is no doubt in any community in this country that the men in those communities are the backbone of their nations. There is no doubt in the white community that the white man is the backbone of his nation. The European, the Buddhist, the Korean, the Japanese, the Hispanic, all of those men are the backbones of their community, and there's no doubt about it. It is only in the Black community where those values have been transposed and where they put that burden on us and tell us that we are the backbone of the Black community, which is a direct insult to the Black man and implies that he don't have no backbone and that his women have to represent him. It's a heavy burden. It's one we are tired of carrying, and it is one that is not true. I remind people all the time that God did not make the white man, the white woman, the Black woman, and then the Black man. He made the Black man first, and he created all of the rest of the people after him. When I wrote my first book back in 1985, I was going about the country trying to still work to teach our people something, trying to get them to stop eating pork. And at that time, I was having what I call get off those hog lectures. And I would take the microscope out and I would show Black people how even if you cook pork, you couldn't kill the worm. I would show them that the worm was still alive in the meat after heat, because that's what they told us, that you could cook it and kill the worm. And so I would show them what it did to the brain and the spinal column. And so there were many Black men who wanted to stop eating pork. They wanted to change their diets, and they were in agreement. But it was the Black woman who I found who was the most adamant, who refused to change her cooking habits, who didn't want to shop differently, who didn't want to do any different meal planning. And so I say, well, now, if we are refusing to provide the Black man with the proper physical food when we know food is what sustains life, then what else are we keeping from him? What else are we doing to destroy our men, to destroy our families, because we don't know any better, or because we're too lazy, or because nobody has ever called on us to repent? And so then that led me to the study. And so as I was going along, initially I was keeping up with names and addresses and all of those things for that so-called research that they talk about. And then I found out that we didn't have a control group. There was not one set of Negroes that I could point at and say, well, these particular Negroes over here, they didn't suffer from the psychological trauma of slavery, so we don't have to deal with that. I found out that all of us had the same problems and that we were not as different as we think we are. Mm-hmm. We are all doing the same things. We're all practicing the same patterns of behavior. A pattern is something that people follow because they think it's the right way to go. We have been doing it and approving that behavior between each other because we think, well, this is just how you do it. We have not represented our own ideas. We have not had anyone to represent our own ideas to us. The only place we have learned about how to be a woman or how a man is to be a man is on television. We haven't had that kind of a chance to study ourselves. The white woman has been the only woman we have had an opportunity to study every day of our life, on television, in every magazine we ever picked up, in every newspaper, on every radio. She's been the only model we have had. And if we think that that's not important, then we need to, look at that again. We have studied that, and we have made up and came up with requirements that the white people have set for us for our man. And if he cannot come up to those requirements, then we have decided that he is impotent and unable to be our man because he's disqualified, because he does not qualify by the standards that the white people have set up. We think a good, successful relationship is one where everything goes our way. The first time it stops going our way, then we got a serious problem. We want our man to do everything we tell him to do, but we don't want to do anything he tells us to do. Yeah, it's hard language. And all of our so-called educated class together have never come up with an agenda that brought the people together to try to improve their condition like the Black Man's Guide. Not a one of them have ever had a program that got all of the Black people talking, got all of them out, made everybody decide to make a comment, whether they wanted to or not. People are compelled to testify all over the country. I can't walk the street. See, we've never been examined, as I said, in the breakdown of every relationship. Each party in the relationship shares 1/2 the responsibility. That's 50% of the responsibility. So yes, the Black man is 50% responsible for the breakdown of our relationships. And we are the other 50% half responsible for the breakdown of our relationships. And I ask Black women, if you do not want to accept 50% of the responsibility, what percentage do you accept, and how does that behavior manifest? And I guarantee you it's already in my book, because this lists the things that we do. We've just never seen it in print. We've never had it out front. We've never been busted. But now we have the equality we've been crying for. They're busted, and so are we. I teach that slavery tampered with nature. When I say that slavery tampered with nature, I mean that a major rite of passage for every male mammal is to provide and protect for a female and her young. Now, certainly we know that the Black man has been denied that opportunity. He has not been allowed to qualify to protect his woman or provide for them. They have told us that the only provision that the Black man is qualified to give us is one of money. And we have made finance the major focus of our relationships with them. We have made the one thing that most of them don't even have be the criteria. We have been taught that if they do not give us money, that we are not to even allow them to be a father to their child. We have been taught that if he does not give us money, then he is not qualified to tell us what to do. We have been taught that if he does not give us money, that he doesn't have any rights in the home. It's whoever is making the money who has the rights. That's not our system. The Black man provides more in a Black home than just financial support. He provides direction, guidance, gratification, fulfillment, and discipline for our children. Those are the principles that are missing in our home today, which is why our children are savage in the streets. We see those children out there sometimes acting wild and uncivilized and disrespectful because they don't respect anyone, because we didn't teach them any respect. We didn't know how. And a lot of times we look at them and we say, yeah, they're out there doing this, and we act like that they dropped down out of the sky, but those are our children. We birthed them up out of our womb. They belong to us. And we are responsible for them. And for every child that's out there out of control, disrespectful, ignorant, and uneducated, they have a Black mother somewhere who failed to do her job, and a Black father who failed to do his. It is not the responsibility of the American government to raise our children. It is not the responsibility of the American government to support our women. And it certainly is not the responsibility of the American government to hold our man down. This book is to allow us to have a new chance to start all over and say, yes, this is what has happened. I didn't make myself like this. We don't get anything from ourselves. We pick it all up externally. And as we have picked up these bad habits, we can, decide that we are not going to do them. See, what has happened is that we have been turned, sisters, into kind of like Frankenstein. I think everybody remembers the Frankenstein monster. He had somebody's arms, somebody's legs. He even had somebody else's brain inside of his skull. Oh, he was functional, but he was not himself. And so, yes, we are functional. We have been taught that having a good job means that we are a total success. We have been taught that the solution to all the problems of the Black people in America is to get a job with the white people. That's just not the truth. And that's certainly not saying that it is not important for us to have money for food, clothing, and shelter. And it's not saying that we as Black women are not strong. I'm here today to represent some of that monumental strength we say we have.
This does not mean that we are not strong. We don't have to put our man down in order to be strong. I'm just saying that we have used our strength in the wrong direction. We've been using it against our man instead of for him. If we use the kind of strength and influence that we have in this society to support the black man, won't anybody be able to come against him? But every man is judged by his woman, and if his woman say he ain't nothing, then the whole world believes he ain't nothing. His own self by his woman. He can be out in the world being great, and the whole world can be kneeling to him. And if he come home and she say, you ain't nothing, you ain't been nothing, then that's who he believes. And yes, we have insulted our man in front of our children. It wasn't intentional. We just been frustrated. We couldn't make you brothers do what we want you to do. We didn't have anybody else to tell sometimes. So we would say it over the children. He ain't no good. He make me sick. He's stupid. If he loved you, he would be here with you. When every man in here knows that his relationship with his children is predicated on his relationship with their mother. And if they are not getting along with us, they are not going to spend any time with the children. That's just how that is. And I talk to brothers around this country, and I have testimonies and tons of letters from brothers who write and tell me that my book made them to decide to try to be a man again and try to have a woman. Now, if you think that's not an important work, I got black men who write me and say, you have made me decide not to have another white woman. I'm going to try to get back with the sisters and try them one more time. See, nobody is going to give us this information. They have us standing around sometime and pointing at the brothers and saying, yeah, that's them over there. They ain't no good. They doing this and that and the other, and it's all negative. And they have us thinking that the black man is going to die, we going to live on. But that's not how it's going to go. There is still one monolith in the black community, and that's that it still takes a man and a woman to make a baby. So if the black man dies, we all die. And I don't want to die. I want to live. I want my children and my grandchildren and whatever else is coming after Shahrazad, I want that to live. But we are not on the path of life. We're on the path of destruction. Learning how to get along has to be taught by force. Slavery was taught by force. We didn't volunteer for that. They made us do that. They forced us to do that. And that's how we're going to have to learn how to reunify. It's going to have to be done by force. We're going to have to make ourselves try to deal with each other. Yeah, and that's very difficult, and it certainly takes a great deal of self-control and love for your nation at large. It's the greatest form of unselfishness. Now, I don't go around advocating that people that hate each other stay together. That's not what I'm saying. That's different. We can't solve a problem or get to a solution about a problem that we refuse to acknowledge that we have. We don't have to be ashamed that we have a problem. We don't have to be ashamed to know that it is related to slavery, because all of our problems are related to slavery. And I know that seems to be some old hat issue, and everybody want me to stop talking about that. Nobody would tell the Japanese woman to forget about the fact that during World War II, the white man interned her family, took all of their personal possessions. Nobody would tell her to forget about that. Nobody would tell the Indian woman, forget about the fact that the white man came over here and took your country and put you and your babies out on the reservation. And nobody would dare to tell the Jewish woman to forget about the Holocaust, so why I got to forget about slavery? See, the Japanese and the Indian and the Jewish woman got behind their men, and they had some very terrible histories also. But because they got behind their men and supported them and worked with them, those people are successful today. They own property, they have businesses, they got great land here and abroad. They have stocks, bonds, whatever America has to offer, they own part of that. They are in a position to make decisions because they have some ownership. It's only been the black man and the black woman who didn't reunite after a terrible time. And so today we are splintered. We don't have very much. We practice envy and jealousy. They taught us a lot of bad habits that we practice against each other. If we practice everything we practice against each other, against the white man, they'd have been killed out of America. Most of that stuff we reserve for our own kind, and that's wrong. We have had that rumor that we are the backbone of the black nation because it has served to make us think we were better than the black man. We have walked around and wore that as some kind of a sacred garment. And our men have had to struggle up under the already preconceived notion that they wasn't no good. We have always heard that the black man leaves us. He walks out on us. He don't love his children. He won't take care of his family. He beat his women. He do a lot of horrible things. This book goes back to try to examine what are some of the possible contributing causes. What happened before he left? What happened? Something happened. The black man is just not bad by nature. The brothers love their children as much as any other man. Every man loves his baby. They keep wanting to tell us that our man don't even love his children. He's not a mother, though. He's a father. He's not going to have the same kind of connection to the cub that we have. We can't expect that. We keep wanting the man to act like a woman. He can't act like no woman. Praise be to Allah. I wrote the book so that the brothers would understand what's going on, because most of what we charge them with is that he can't, quote, handle us. He can't handle me. They haven't known what they were handling. They didn't have that information. The book is really a book that puts the black man on point, because it tells him what he has allowed to happen to his woman and his children. And he can never again say he didn't know what was going on, because I have told him. See, it's never been an issue about whether or not the book is true or not, brother. The issue has been that I was not supposed to tell. But that's the missing information. And I was willing to come out here and go through whatever was going to be required if it was going to reunite some of our people. If we can get 1 or 2 black families in every town to start functioning differently, to make a better man and a better woman, then this campaign is worth it. It's worth it for our entire nation. I didn't just donate money to Marvin Collins School because this is my hometown, or because I wanted to put it in my mother's name. But we must have our own black schools to educate our own children. We have to educate our own children. If it's in a closet, I would rather support them, have my own kind, trying to teach my own kind, than sending them out there into the white people's school and let them tell them all kind of nonsense that they want to. It's a very serious situation. Let us take a look at what we as black women have produced while we were allegedly back. 1 in every 4 black men between the age of 20 and 29 is in prison, on parole, been arrested, or had some bump with the law. Over 50% of our prison population is black, male, growing, and female. We have more black men in prison than in college. 6 out of every 10 black men between the ages of 15 and 44 are unemployed, in jail, got some disease, homosexual, on drugs. 73% of all the black men in prison were raised by a single black woman in a home with no man. 80% of that 73% suffered child abuse in the home, victimized by the mother. 1/3 of our children drop out of school before they graduate. Over 60% of our households are headed by black women who are single, divorced, separated, or widowed. Yeah, we got a serious problem. And only God knows how many of our black babies we have killed through abortion. I don't think that's something I think that's something the black man will never understand, how we kill that life in our womb because we decide we don't feel like taking care of it. It's too much of a hassle. Or we change our mind about how we feel about the man. So we have been in a very, very powerful position. We can make heaven or hell for the man, and we can decide who's going to live and die. That is a great woman, I agree. But we are in a very prestigious position. We are the wives of the man who was the first man that God chose to be on the earth. That's a very great position. The most valued and the strongest man on the earth that everybody's trying to use for something. He's the most durable. He's the most persistent. He's the most determined. Black man is not wrong because he does not do what white America wants him to do.
And he's not wrong because he don't do what we want him to do. We don't know everything to do ourselves. We learning a lot of what we think that we're supposed to do through recommendation and chance. Passing information among each other. We learning a lot of what we think that'll help us trick him, keep him confused. We do things in front of his face and we have learned how to convince him that he didn't even see that happen. Just serious situations. This is the first platform black man has ever had to air his grievances about the black woman because nobody would ever listen to him. They listen to us. And we have had many complaints. Many of them may be true, but they have complaints against us too. They've just been too cool to deal with it like that. And then God sent Sister Shahrazad.
SHAHRAZAD.
So we're going to deal with it now. History can't be complete without dealing with it. We cannot let the history live and die and record that we were all right and they were all wrong, because that's just not the way it is. We are good people, but we are both going to be a good people. And I hear, women around the country tell me, say, well, you have insulted black womanhood. And now anybody from any foreign country or anybody who picks your book up is going to think that all black women are like that. That's impossible. Everything I list in the book is visual and audible. You can see it or you can hear it. So if you don't see it or hear it, it ain't there. But if you see it and hear it, which you will, it's present. So there's no danger that somebody's going to look at one of us and think we are doing the things that I describe in the book. Because you can see if somebody's doing that or not. That's not difficult to be able to read a person on that. The book certainly does not give the black man any rights over us in a certain kind of a way, because no man can begin to try to get us together until he look at himself in the book. See, we represent problem number 2.
Mm-hmm.
They already know who problem number 1 is. Now, I know that many of us have heard a lot about, allegedly, as I said, about how much money I'm supposed to be making. I have to mention that because that's what they mention in all of the newspapers around the country. It's the weirdest thing I ever heard of. One article in Emerge magazine, before I left, day before yesterday, I come out of Boston, I went back through Philadelphia, and somebody had faxed me a copy of an article out of Emerge magazine. And the magazine said that they were still getting letters about my book, but that they had decided not to print anything else about it because they had decided that my book had made enough money. So I called the editors up. I told my secretary, I said, get him on the telephone. So I asked him, I said, that was a very ridiculous and ignorant remark to make, brother, since you don't know what the book sells for or how many I've sold or any of that. I say, plus, why don't some of you black people get together and go tell IBM and Adidas and Nike and Reebok that they made enough money? Those are the people robbing our people. I said, go down there and tell Xerox they made enough money and see what they say. I have security, mostly not because of black women. We ain't gonna do nothing but fuss. I have security because of black men. The book puts the black man on point. They get hysterical, they go into denial, they jump the seats, charge down the aisles. You'd be surprised. So it's not the black woman that this book is upset, because many of our black men don't want to take responsibility for their families. Many of them, not just because of financial reasons, many of them have accepted so much of the hype in the media that they don't know what it would be like to be in charge. They got doubt. They have fear. They are afraid that they will fail. We are all afraid of failure. The major tool that was used against us during slavery was the implication of fear. We have to get past that fear. Our men have to stop being scared to say, yes, I'm the head of the house. They need to know that every woman wants to know her limitations with her man. Any woman that can do a man any kind of way and have her way with him and say anything she wants to him, she ain't gonna want him in a minute. We have to know what the black line is. I had did an interview the other day from a newspaper out of Baltimore. Anyway, so they had brought down the camera crew and stuff, and so they were trying to interview me. So, of course, they got on that favorite part of the book, that everybody deal with. And so he asked me, had I haven't been slapped in the mouth. So I told him, I say, well, this book is not an autobiography, first of all. I said, and secondly, I said, I don't get that far out of control. I say, since that's how it's described, it's very easy to keep that from happening. Just don't do that. So I said, I don't do that. I don't talk like that. I said, I can tell by his tone of voice when it's time to stop talking. Yeah, that's the most amazing thing. The amazing thing to me is how our people go around the country trying to pretend that we ain't fighting. And that I made that up, you know. But as I said, this book demonstrates that we are not as different as we like to think that we are. So what I'm going to go over real brief right now is what the attributes are of the good black woman. Since she's not on television, we may not recognize her. Okay. Now, the good black woman has 7 attributes, and then I'm going to explain to you how to utilize those in your day-to-day life. The good black woman has self-discipline, courteousness, cheerfulness, self-respect, intelligence, cleanliness, and love. Now, we've heard that terminology. You know, it's like one of those where they tell you, pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. What do that mean? You know, how can I make that functional in my day-to-day life to benefit me as a practice? It sounds like all theory. Where's the practice? What do I do? The good black woman has self-discipline. That's self-control. Let me make that real for you, sisters. We can start with our mouth. The good black woman can control her mouth. She don't have to say everything that comes up. It's okay if he get the last word sometime. You know, she don't cuss in public. And she works on not cussing in private. She don't tear a man down with her mouth because they can't out-argue us. Can't nobody out-argue us.
Nope.
I have charged that we nag our men too much. We keep our men's head tied up so much with our petty grievances about our personal relationship that he don't have time to think and plan for our future. Because he got to deal with what's going to happen with us every day. You know, it's real odd. When the black man come home, he almost has to do a wind test or stick his toe in the door. He don't know what's waiting. He don't know who is there today. He knows it's a possibility that there's some kind of new monster that he didn't even know about yesterday. So, you know, we need to not make it like that. We need to not be so vicious with our mouth. You know, men are not petty like that. They're not going to out-argue us. And it has been proven that verbal abuse is just as harmful as physical abuse. So let's not use our mouth to do that to him. The good black woman is courteous. She says, thank you, baby. I appreciate you doing that. I appreciate every effort you make. Try harder. I'm going to work with you. Thank you. I know you did your best. Now that's a whole new language. But just to say that during the course of the day, every day, with the man that you're trying to be with or want to be with, will make our life easier. We can't get it if we don't give it. We keep wanting them to give us and do something for us that we refuse to do and give to them. It don't work like that. The good black woman has self-respect. She don't have to go out naked just to get the attention of a man. I have sisters all over the country, and they come up to me after the lectures, and they'll be talking to me, and they'll say, well, you know, all he think about is sex. All he think about is my body. I said, why don't you show him something else? And then here's the really good one. They'll come up and they'll have a weave. They have on false eyelashes, another whole face, false fingernails, and all of that. And then they'll say, but I'm looking for a real man. It's real deep. I say, why? woman can pull a dress down without thinking that it devalues her. She doesn't have to use her body because she has so many other good attributes about herself to get the attention of a man. We can take the sisters in a position to take all of the charge and sexual energy out of the Black community by just dressing differently. We have the power and control over that. That don't stop you from being beautiful. That don't stop you from getting a man. And it certainly puts things on the right perspective so some other judgments can be made other than physical. It don't take no knowledge, wisdom, and understanding to have a sexual reaction. That's the most base. We spend less time doing that than anything else we do. So, that doesn't always have to be the forefront issue. We know we are capable of that. The good Black woman has intelligence, meaning that she knows how to behave properly in the streets. She's not in the wrong place. Some of our women don't know what else to do other than go to the bar. They need some activities. Some of our women thinking that staying home on the weekend is some kind of sin. Some of our women think that if they don't have a new outfit to wear every day, that they're going to self-destruct. We have a lot of that kind of nonsense going. Every time we buy new outfits and clothes or whatever, all we're doing is sending money out of our community. We don't own no clothing store. If the white man closed the shoe factory, we'd all be here barefooted tonight. We don't own no shoe factories. Very base things that we don't own, that we put our money into and demand we have to have them. A lot of times our men look at us and know that he ain't never going to be able to make enough money to give us all of the things we say we want. And don't no man want to be with no woman who he constantly got to deny her the things that she says she wants. That represents failure to him, to have to always, not be able to provide us with what we ask for. One of the ways we can do that is to start being satisfied with less. The good Black woman is clean. Now that's a hard one. The good Black woman try to keep the house clean. Good Black woman is clean about her own body. A lot of those things we kind of take for granted, but all of our people don't know about that. There are people who are angry with me because I even described the fact that some of us as sisters don't have the proper personal hygiene, as if that don't exist. We have too much falsehood and pretense going about our condition. Everybody that's dressed up ain't clean. That's just the truth. We have to look at our condition in the light of truth. Stop reacting emotionally and pretending that just because we don't want to deal. One of the most difficult things that I deal with out here is trying to teach our people the difference between an actual fact and an opinion. Our people think that they can accept or reject truth based on how they feel about it. Your feelings don't change the truth. The truth is just going to be there. You can feel any kind of way you want to feel about it. Those kind of emotions have kept us from growing, because anything we don't like, we just reject that and say, well, I don't believe that. That don't mean that it's not the truth. It just makes you a disbeliever. The good Black woman practices non-possessive loving. Now, y'all know that's a hard one. Now, envy is wanting what someone else has. And jealousy, of course, is just selfishness. Non-possessive loving is not an easy one for us to practice. And of course, I have a lot of sisters and some brothers who are in disagreement with me saying that. But the actual fact is that our men are outnumbered about 5-1. And nature is going to require that the men take responsibility for more than one woman and her children. Most of our men have children by more than one woman anyway. So I don't know why that was such a surprise, allegedly, when I said that. The Black man has not been waiting on me to tell him he could have more than one woman. I'm in agreement with the rest of y'all. I don't think he should do that, but I feel like you did. There are some things perhaps about the nature of our man that we have been given some definitions about that are not true. There are some things he can do that we call him a dog. We do not have the same capabilities as a man. I am not talking about fornication and adultery. That's something else. I'm talking about actual responsibility of fatherhood and husbandhood of another family. That's quite different from fornication and adultery. We don't have the same capabilities of them. That's right. A man can have two homes, two sets of in-laws. He can eat dinner at two houses, two sets of children, two garages, two separate sets of friends attached to that woman. He can have all of that. We can't do that. We can't cook dinner at two houses. We can't sleep with one man 4 nights a week and another one 3. Ain't no man gonna agree with that. We can't have one set of children we leave in one place and go and stay in another place and take care of another set. It doesn't work for us. Now, that does not mean that we can't have sex with more than one man. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about just taking responsibility for your children. Now, certainly, every man can't take financial responsibility for all of his children. He can do something. But a man who is spending time with a child is going to do something for it. Because then they'll find out what we have since we've been taking care of them by ourselves. You don't like to always say, no, I can't do it. No, I ain't got it. So the children will make you get it up. You spend some time with it. You know, that's an important thing. The effectiveness of the principles that I just described, their usefulness has not diminished just because modern opinion has changed about them. There is not a black man in this room who does not still enjoy it if his woman bake him a cake. Well, our young daughters are being raised and taught that that's old style and that's out of fashion. We are not making those rules. Somebody else is, and they're imposing them on us and making us think that we have to qualify under them. I tell the brothers, just like I tell the sisters, if you have a woman that you've been working with for months or years, and you can't get that woman to get in agreement with your program, then get rid of her and get another one. And I tell the sisters the same thing. If you're with a man you can't agree with, don't make his life miserable. Get with a man you can agree with.
Woo! Powerful, 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 powerful. Remember, guys, this is 30 years ago, and this lady is still teaching today, and she still look exactly the same 30 years later. Okay, boss lady, you can let us know
Yes,
about the
she
video.
is amazing.
Then what's
Wow,
going
she's
on?
beautiful. She's timeless. She's like a diamond in the rough. She just gets better with time. Just beautiful. She's just, there's no words to describe her. She's just beautiful. And she brings the word to us so honestly and just to let us know that, it's okay for you young girls to stop running around here being hoochie mamas, swinging your butt around to get a man for a night. Why don't you cover up and get a man for a lifetime and let him undress you at night instead of being undressed in the streets? That's what that's all she's saying. Go home and treat your man like a man. How about it? How about Red Queen too?
Good evening.
Hi,
I'm
dear.
really feeling this video. Like she is so amazing. And some women may take her message as a put down, but realistically she's really uplifting the black woman. And it's just beautiful. Like she's empowering you to um, know the value that you really hold. And you do hold a lot of value. And yes, many have seen me up here before. I am a white skinned, mixed race person. So I have a say in here. I have black children. So it really matters to me. And I love her speaking style and the strength that she puts into the black family. It's amazing.
Yes, yes. She keeps it real and she lets it be known that hey, the black man needs to be put up on a pedestal because they didn't put it holding them down for long enough, man. Come on. But you know what? This is what I wanted to say. Now we with the epidemic, we're able to teach our kids at home. So now we can teach our kids. Our kids are going to be smarter now because we're teaching them at home, and parents are going into deeper uh, subjects and teaching them more wider range of information.
True. The school I found only teaches the basics, if that.
Right.
So I would prepare other lessons periodically for my children, be like, okay, sit down. I'm going to teach you this about life, about race, about like morals and values and how to carry yourself. I have two daughters and a son. How to carry yourself when you grow up as a man, how to treat a woman, how to carry yourself as a woman, how to treat a man. Also, I love that when she talked about the when you break up with your baby father or your husband or whatnot, and you're not getting along with them, and then you hold the children back as some kind of weapon.
Oh, I never liked
Oh my
that.
gosh,
I never liked any woman to do that.
I never could
I got
understand it.
horrified by that when I was a kid. My cousin, we were kids, and she was staying at our house. We might have been about 6 or 7, and the police came trying to take her away because they said that the mothers was trying to take her away from the dad, and it was and I got traumatized as a young kid about kids being taken away. So I never forgot that.
That's right. Well, with my I have three kids, like I said, and the first daughter is with someone I was engaged to, and then the other two are from a 15-year marriage. And I never once, no matter what I went through with these men, and a lot of people would say, oh, you really, shouldn't let the kids go there. No, I was smart enough to know my relationship with the man is different than the relationship that he can have with his children.
Yeah, he said father. I
Yep,
had to explain that to my daughter about her sons. Because if you're not doing well, they have a father that will take care of them, that raised them, that birthed them. They have two parents, and there's nothing wrong with a father taking care of his kids.
that's right. And I feel like a lot of women confuse child support with visitation. They are two separate things.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, the man should support his children. That's a fact. However, visitation has nothing to do with child support. So just if in case you're not getting money, that doesn't mean you automatically cut off the visitation.
Did you see on just the other night, this lady served her husband with divorce papers, and then he came and killed. He shot her, and he shot the baby, and he shot her two kids and took the baby, and then he ran off somewhere, and then it was a manhunt, and he took the baby to a relative's house, and then I don't know, I guess he killed himself or something. It was just the other night, all because
Oh
she
no.
wanted a divorce. Yeah, it was crazy. Yeah, just the other night.
Oh my gosh. No, I didn't see that. I try not to watch the
Yeah.
news too much. It's just
It wasn't on
too
the
much is
news. This
going
was
on.
on YouTube. It was on
Oh
YouTube.
really?
You
Oh, I
know how
missed
you
it.
have your news channel on YouTube and some stuff pop up sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, that part just popped up.
I seen the one where the man wanted half of the woman's stimulus check and she said no, and he
How
like
sad is that?
annihilated the whole family.
He said that is one pitiful. But you know what? Even though 2021 just started, he is the lowest of the scum buckets of 2021.
Yeah. And that I think goes into also what she's teaching. Like, you know, just because you've been like with, you made a poor choice, you've been with a man that is like the man we were just describing, that doesn't mean that every man's like that. And that doesn't mean that the next man that you get with, you have to disrespect him and you can't respect him and put him up. We as women have so much power in the relationship and the household. And sometimes
Yeah, well,
we have to
what she should
learn
have
to
did,
not
she
be
should have cut him
aggressive.
off. She should have cut him off. She should
Yeah,
have cut him off. She shouldn't have kept feeding him. She was giving him money here and there. She should have cut him off. She should have been treating him like one of the kids.
that's true. But within the relationship, like if you do have a good man and everything's going good, my opinion, just my opinion, the woman really runs things. She runs things if she's smart and she's humble and knows how to play her place.
Yeah. But,
You can get
but
a
he's
man
gonna
to
let
do what
you.
you want with
A
a
real
lot of
man is gonna
loving.
let you do that.
That's right.
And we got to remember, guys, that she's not speaking upon the mental ill. She's not speaking upon the narcissistic men. She's not speaking upon the woman beaters. She's speaking upon regular men. That's why
Yeah.
she said, we're problem number two and they're problem number one. But this is exactly why a lot of men is out the house. Now, one thing I would say, which how much I truly love this, because I had to learn a lot too, because I'm beyond dominant. I am super dominant, beyond dominant. I had to learn how to pump my brakes and talk a little nice. You
Hello,
know,
Aries here. I had to learn too.
rah. But you would never see a man break down their rights and wrongs and say like the black woman's guide to a black man. It's always about the man, but we still have to do our part, you know. But y'all two could finish because I'm up and down, up and down. I'm enjoying you two guys' conversation.
Yeah,
I'm
go
enjoying
ahead,
your input as
Red
well.
Queen too. Go ahead, baby.
Oh, I have like so many thoughts. Like, when you have so many things to talk about and they just like you can't grab one. Let me think. Um, oh my gosh. No,
Well,
you're
let's talk
talking. I'm gonna
about
think of something.
let's talk about what she said about the finances and about money and everything like that.
Yes,
Eh,
just because. Oh, now you brought me to it. So, just because I have a few points on this. Okay, I once had when I left my ex-husband and whatnot, and I was raising my kids, and I was independent because I had no choice. I
Right.
had to take care of my children, and I had to be independent because I didn't have a man to help me with things. And I remember I met this gentleman, and he was so used to, lavishing his woman with everything and whatnot. And we didn't start a relationship or anything. We just started talking. And I don't know what I said, and it set him off. And he's like, "Yeah, you're too independent." And I'm like, "But I have no choice. I can't help but being independent." So, I think there's a fine line with being independent woman because you have no choice, or you're going to be in the gutter with your kids, versus being so independent that you feel like you don't need a man, because you can take your education and your income and whatnot and match that with a man and put it together and put like generational wealth for your children and your
Girl, you
grandchildren.
know what? Now that you say education, I'm ashamed to say it. I was with this guy for like 25, 27 years, and in the last 2 years, I just found out he didn't even have a high school diploma. I've been listening to this big dummy for all this time.
Okay, but did he make sense though? Did he have valid points, even though he might not have been educated within the school system? Like, did he have valid points?
Oh no, he was a sensible type person and
Okay.
everything like that, but he you could tell that he didn't have those sharp points, and he couldn't go to a certain level. And if I said a word that was like over his head, he would look at me like I was cussing him out or something.
Yes, I went through that with my ex-husband. Same thing as you're describing. And I like to read a lot of books. I like to be informed. And if we got in a conversation and I was saying something that was over his head, he would be like, "Oh, you think you're so smart? You think," like as if I'm using it as a weapon. I'm just having a conversation with
Yeah,
you.
we would
Like,
have
instead of
conversations, and
pulling
he
me
would say,
down, why don't you
"Yeah,
lift yourself up? I'll help you lift yourself up, but don't try to pull
right."
me down.
He would say things. He would say that I was, and I didn't even know. I was devastated when he said that I was. What did he say? I was gaslighting. I was so devastated. I called my mom and said, "Mom, he said that I was a gaslighting, and I don't even know what that is. And I don't know if he's calling me a name, and I don't know if he's calling him voodoo on me or what or something
No.
like that. I didn't know, but you guess what my mom said? My mom said, tell him to stop calling you his family name.
Oh
Oh
my
my God.
gosh.
He went off. He was so mad. Oh,
It's something that narcissists do to get out of taking accountability for their actions.
yeah, because
That's
he
like
he
that
called me
comes
out my
from
name. Go
a
ahead, sis.
movie.
An
Remember back
old
in the day,
movie.
it comes from an old movie,
Yep.
and
Look
that's
it
like
up.
me keep flicking the light off and on. You like, why is the light flicking light and on? Like I'm not doing nothing, but I know I'm the one that's flicking the light off and on, trying to drive you crazy. I'm driving.
Yep.
I'm the one physically doing things to drive you crazy or make you think different of your perception
Right,
That's right. It
or
is an
your
old movie.
reality.
Yep. Exactly.
right.
And also,
And then,
sorry.
uh-huh.
Sorry, no, go ahead.
And then, it just seems like when you dealing with a person like that and you even try to deal with you know that they have problems and you know that they're not, all the way understanding everything. So you just give them a break. They
Yeah.
still try to come at you like oh, like you said, you think you're better than me and all this stuff like that. Even though you've been in your knee down and everything trying to help them.
That's an inferiority complex. That's their issue. It's not yours, but they're trying to make it your issue.
Yeah,
Also, one thing that I like that she touched on in the knowledge build was, um, I mean, I don't think she said the exact words. I don't remember because I was like fascinated with everything. I was like commenting all over the place. Um, the term strong black woman. I feel like for so long that has been a badge of honor, but it's turned into something that can hold the black woman down. Why
right.
do you have to be this strong black woman that can take any kind of BS that comes your way? Like, no, it's another word for like separating the man and the woman. Why do you have to be this strong black woman?
Yeah,
Why
yeah,
can't you
no, I
join
want to
together with the man and be a team?
be a family woman. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we're working on families. And these girls, I feel bad for a lot of these young girls. And I've been seeing them on these Instagram. They should watch that. They need to put this all on their page because they're going out getting pregnant by all these famous rap guys and everything, and then the guys don't want to claim the kids. This is what you guys are creating.
I do. I feel bad for like generations after us because I had my grandparents to look up to. They were married over 50 years. And
Right,
but that was a kind of a double-edged sword for me because I really tried to recreate what they had in my marriage, but my ex-husband was not my grandfather. And that made me stay in a toxic marriage for too long. But I'm still grateful that I had a good example to look up to. But I find that the new generations down the line, they're having fewer and fewer good examples of a solid, healthy marriage to look up to.
right.
But
Yeah,
but
uh,
but you know what else they're having a hard problem looking up to? There are no more Sarah resides. There are where is more of her at? All the big mamas. What happened to all the big mamas? What happened to the women that they looked up to for respect? Because remember, grandmothers are now in their 30s.
Yeah.
They're not in their 50s and 60s no more. Some people are grandmothers by the time they're 32 years old, they're a grandmother. So, they're still growing themselves. They ain't even hit the big 40s yet. So they're still partying. They're literally doing the same things their kids doing because their kids is only like they probably had their kid at 17 or 18 years old, and their kid had their kid at 17, 18 years old.
It's true because,
So are the
sorry.
ones in their 40s. The ones in their 40s are partying too.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're all so young now. What happened to the big mamas? What happened to the women that's going to pull these young girl coattails? I understand that they may or may not listen or whatever, but they've been missing. We have dropped the ball
I'm gonna
for
tell
so
you what happened.
long.
I'm gonna tell you what happened. What happened was they created this thing called CPS. And so
Yes.
they told the kids that, if somebody yell at you or if somebody do you this way or if they say this or if you feel some kind of way that you can call. So then that made our kids feel like they don't have to have no discipline and that if anybody yelled or told them anything or if you said something that hurt their feelings or they didn't like how you said it, they could call somebody and tell some on you. And
No,
that
but
created no, I'm just saying that created uh, uh, separation between our
no,
us and
that
our
is true. That is
yeah.
true. That is one of the major issues. But even before that, it wasn't like it had to be somebody in your family. It could have been your next door neighbor. It could have been grandma. It could have
An
been
older
grandma's
aunt.
friend, older aunt. It couldn't even have to be a family member. It takes a village to raise a child. It took a village.
Well,
Like
we don't have
back in
we
our
don't have our
there,
communities no more.
we dropped
They
the
done
ball.
integrated. They integrated our communities, so we don't have our communities to get together and raise the kids like that anymore. Because everybody's separated now.
The same way we could see now what was it? Dr. Seuss was offensive. But they played. I don't know if y'all seen it, but they've been up and down Facebook. I don't watch the Grammys, but they played. They showed the countless memes, and I didn't even watch the video of Cardi B and that other lady, and they was comparing the both. And I'm saying, look at the stuff that they are promoting now.
I don't look at her. I don't like her. I think she's gross and nasty, and she makes me want to throw up.
No, but me neither. But I'm just saying, the people still, you still can't. If you get Facebook, people still was outraged about that. So I see it through Facebook, but I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
But
one of my guys that I was looking at was showing something about it, and it was really disgusting. I had to change the channel.
I actually had,
I don't
okay,
watch it
so
at
my
all.
my speaking about like the music and
Just give me
whatnot,
one
like,
second. 1 second. Nikki, go out and come back in because your device is not connected. It's not connected. Come back in. I'm sorry, sister. Go ahead.
yes, so with regards to like the music nowadays and whatnot, like I grew up with the oldies. My mom played the oldies, and in my home for my children, Saturday morning cleaning, you got to have the music on and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back then it was like when my kids were young, Spice Girls and the boy bands and whatnot. But no, I was like pumping Aretha, The Temptations. I was like pumping all the old, good music. And I
Right.
remember this was last year. I was in the car with my oldest daughter and her two daughters. And this happened a few times, and then I had to address it. There was um, like it wasn't the radio station. She put on a playlist that she had. And okay, it'd be good for me and her. She's an adult, I'm an adult. If we're in the car together, okay, fine, we can pump that music. But her two daughters, one was 14 at the time, the other one was 7. I felt very uncomfortable being in the presence of my granddaughters listening to some of the music that she was playing on her playlist because it was so inappropriate, you know?
Wow.
And I eventually had to talk to her and I'm like, listen, this is not appropriate. She's like, oh, well, and a lot of it was like reggae music, like Jamaican patois. And I'm like, if you, she goes, oh, well, they don't know what it means. I'm like, no, they do know. Kids know nowadays. They understand. And I said, it's not appropriate for you to play that kind of music. Get a child friendly, a teenage friendly, child friendly playlist and
They
play
don't
that in the
even make
car.
that no, but they don't even, I'm sorry, they don't even make radio edit music anymore.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you can make her playlist better. She did. That's
Yeah,
also on
something
her.
better like Taylor Swift or something. I don't care. Like something that is not talking
Whatever
about
they
spread
listen
your
to.
legs, hit it from the back, like stuff like that. I don't want to hear that. I don't want your daughter to hear, because I told her, I'm like, listen to me. You guys can never say, you, your sister, and your brother can never once say growing up you ever heard any kind of music like that. I don't care if it was reggae. I played like conscious reggae. Conscious reggae is like, it has a meaning to it. It uplifts
Right.
you, right? It's not dance hall reggae. I never played those type of things around my children growing up. So I remember after I told her that the next time I was in the car, she just put the radio on. And I'm like, okay, she gets it, She didn't put that playlist on again. Because how do you not feel embarrassed? I feel embarrassed, and I'm not their parent. How do you
Well,
feel
I'm
okay?
glad you opened it up because the kids probably were like, "Well, my mom's listening to this." Because that's what my
Yeah.
they don't be understanding when you even know about. Because one time me and my grandkids we were watching videos, and I I really liked it, that video with 6ix9ine when he was in the paint with the girls, the one he did with the Cardi B, I don't know, no, it was Nicki Minaj. And they were just so shocked. I was like, Granny, you like that? And cracking up, So kids, they don't expect you, but it was it was like it wasn't like I enjoyed and sit up there and be gawking at it and watching that stuff all the time, But
But you're
it
an
is,
adult.
yeah, right. You're right.
You can watch those things if you choose to, but like it's not appropriate for younger developing minds. And there's so many subliminal messages and overt messages that are in this music that really it's damaging to children with an impressionable mind. They take it in and they don't even realize that they're being programmed.
Yeah, they don't even, most. I mean, they like. I think a lot of the kids, they just curious. They don't even they'll watch it and then be over it. It's not like something they'll be just sitting there watching. It's something they'll look at it and then that's it. But they need to stop with the sexual gratification. This girl that they didn't got up here, this little devil worshiping little succubus that they push it everywhere, and
Which
she
one?
always looking like she's in a trance. Cardi B,
Oh, okay, okay.
always looking like she's in a trance, and she's just really nasty. Just every video that she makes, it looks like that she's having a sexcapade.
Did you see the little clip where she was playing her own music in her home and then she turned around and seen her little girl entered the room and she shut the music off right away?
It looked like she's seen a ghost when that baby came in there.
Yeah, so you know that it's not something that you want your little girl to listen to. So why would you put that out for our daughters to listen to?
Huh?
You know? You know what you're doing.
Exactly. Why don't what? And her daughter came out of the room, swinging her arm and swinging her head like she didn't heard that song before.
Yeah.
She did it. She didn't. She came in like, "Hey, oh, that song's on again," And that's why she came in the room like, "Hey." And that's why she was so shocked, because she was shocked when that baby came popping up in that room.
Yeah, it's true.
And I think she just took the guy back so that she can have her baby daddy, and which is good. They need to work it out. They're a young couple, and I'm glad that they got back together because, there was no reason for them. If they gonna be in this mess that they started it together. They might as well end it together. You know what? Stay in the mess that y'all created.
It's true. But back to the
Whatever.
video, like with regards to another, I think really the message that she was putting out in her builds was really, when you're looking for someone, or you want to put, a man down, and you're looking for a good man and you're putting bad men down, work on yourself.
Right.
Yeah, work on yourself first. And then, like when you work on yourself, you get yourself together, then look for a good man, because you can't be trash and then talk about you can't find a good man.
Right. Or you might be a narcissist, crazy old nag.
True. Well, it's been a pleasure up on this panel. Thank you, Tony, for bringing me up. I'm going to step down and listen to the rest of the videos.
Nice meeting you, Red Queen, too.
Oh, you too, dear. You guys have a blessed night. Bye-bye.
Hello, Nikki.
Hi, how are you?
Oh, wonderful. Nice to see you, girl. Did you watch the video?
Well, I'm not new to Shahrazad Ali. I have, followed and infused some of her teachings as
Okay,
I
well, give us
mentor.
a little enlighten us, girl.
Well, I think that, so first of all, let me qualify a couple of things. I am a college professor. So I am around, 17, 18, 19-year olds, when I get them as, freshmen and stick with them, beyond that, or as long as they would need me, to be, or as long as they're open or receptive to me. And I
Okay.
think that as I have listened to some of the things that you all have shared, I think that probably one of the most detrimental things that I've witnessed in my 20 years of teaching is this idea of what it means to be an independent woman. And, as she
Okay.
was talking about, how people don't need anybody and things of that nature. And, I trace it back to when Beyonce and all them came on the scene, because it's kind
Right.
of what, came along with that era. And, I've even had to tell my students, I said, yeah, Beyonce came on the scene talking about how she's an independent woman and everything, she bought it, and shoes on her feet, she bought it. I said, but when it was time for her to settle down and she wanted to evolve, what did she do? She realized that she's not an independent woman, and that it's not about, there's a difference between being independent and self-sufficient.
Exactly.
So self-sufficient means that your parents, reared you in order to survive and kind of critically think your way in and out of situations. You can't be
Hmm.
independent in a relationship, but it doesn't mean that you're interdependent.
Right now, girl.
So, those are some of the things that I get, from Shahrazad Ali, and the fact that, her ideas about the man has the vision because of course he's supposed to be the head of the house. And if he, the vision comes from God, through him, and that what you're submitting to is a vision. It's not you're submitting to that man. You're submitting to the vision that comes from God through the man, as he's supposed to be the head of your household. Now, something else that I tell young ladies is
Okay,
that
so
you,
how we supposed to go about getting these men off this street for homeless and out of prison and all, and reform, and what are we supposed to do, or what kind of men are we supposed to be working with?
well, it takes a certain, well, I think that if you have, and I don't really mean to be all, biblical and what have you, but I think that, she's not talking about just any kind of man. I mean, I think that, a man who submits to knowledge or submits to God or what have you has a different way of moving.
That's right.
But it seems like those are the ones that are, that the younger women are the least attracted to, because you got to feel like you got to go through something in order to be happy, or whatever their ideas of happiness may be, as it's defined by reality TV. So I liken, a lot of the issues to reality TV, and, Beyonce and the music and things that they listen to. So my generation, when I was listening to hip hop, it was all about consciousness. It's all about your activism, your political engagement, being an advocate for the Black community, things of that nature. Now it's all about, for yourself, do what you want to do. You don't have to have good character, morals, values, any of that stuff, because you can still get a man, that kind of thing. But it's like, what kind of man are you getting who would accept that? And I often have to tell my students, that the young ladies, that men do what they do in order to get your attention. So when you want more, they'll do better.
Yeah, I agree with that one 100%.
For those who wish to be with women. So it's like, nowadays everything, any and everything goes. And I said, there's much to be said about holding to some sort of tradition, some sort of morals and values. That doesn't make you an antiquated thing. That makes you a woman who understands her self-worth. And so your
Okay,
standards will be different. So going back to man having a vision, when you understand that you know God chooses a woman to do his best work, then you won't allow somebody to offend and abuse you, in some of these ways that some people don't even realize nowadays, when they're being disrespected.
right.
And that your job is to manifest that man's vision that comes from God by way of your children. So it takes a special kind of man to understand what his primary role is, which is to provide and protect. It's not for you to go out and find someone who needs your protection and for you to provide for.
Yeah. I agree with you 100%, and it's bringing in I have a niece and a in a young marriage, and they're going through this right now. And she's holding, being a strong woman, as they say, and he's being buck wild, doing this and that, and she's accepting him back, and he's going out doing whatever, she's accepting him back. And they need to listen to this sermon, and I'm gonna send it over there to them so they can listen to it, so they can get some open mindedness about what he's supposed to be doing, because I don't think he know.
And it's very well possible that he doesn't know. I've had to talk with some young men about the way they carry and govern themselves, because, especially with the way people are dressing, and you're following these models in hip hop, and again, fashion for them is fashion for them. Okay. That doesn't mean that it works for everybody. So, I had to let some young gentleman understand that, if you're trying to be the head of someone's household someday, you're not going to get there moving the way that you move. And part of that, might be with the tight pants that you have on, or the tight pants that are short, that are too short, and some of you look like you walked right out of the Salvation Army, or like look like you hadn't bathed at all. Like, I can't take it. Like, what woman is going to pick you? And I said, you need to also understand that the Bible tells us that when a man finds a wife, he finds a good thing. So this is why some of these young ladies aren't even checking for you. Look at what you're presenting.
They're not even wearing manly clothes. They done jumped into the fashion mode and looking crazy.
Right, but
Older
that fashion
guys,
is not why you're in school. You're in school so that, as Carter G. Woodson says, you can live life more abundantly. Not, go in and be selfish and only serve yourself, so that, no one else benefits from what you, because if we all thought that way, then people wouldn't even be in school. If I only thought about myself and the children that I have, then, I'm not walking the way that Jesus teaches us about being a servant leader. I have to serve the God in you, if God is in you, in order to lead you. But I also have to be a very good follower as well, because, I depend on my elders to, help me grow in the way that I should, because I'm still evolving as a woman. Hopefully you're evolving until you die.
That's right.
But you have to be open and mindful and honest about yourself. And just like someone else said, I think I heard as I was trying to get my laptop so I could log in, that, these Generation Z, they're super sensitive. Nobody can criticize them. Nobody can
Hmm.
critique them, which means
Right,
if I
right,
can't do that, then I can't help you.
right. That's what I was saying about the society, the CPS kids. That's what I call them, the CPS society.
Right. And not only that, imagine how boring and dull life would be if everything you needed to know, you got it at 18. If that's the case, the God I serve is not real. As human beings, we're supposed to always be looking for evidence that God is real, which means sometimes you have to be that evidence that God is real.
Oh, he'll show you. You just gotta stay on that straight and narrow.
But even if you veer off, Jesus wasn't about the people who didn't need him. Just like,
Yeah,
you made the
exactly.
doctor by them going and help the people who are the least of these, not the ones who got the
The
medical plans
blind,
and
yeah.
insurance, and they don't even need you. So they're on preventative. We're talking about the ones who can't afford it. Can you go heal those people?
Exactly.
So, I think that, I could go all day talking about Shahrazad Ali. I remember when she was on old shows like Donahue and this and the third, and she would be the only woman on the panel standing firm in what her core values are. And one of the things that I find is that a lot of people don't have those core values, or if you have them, you'll compromise them just so that you can fit in, as opposed to making people jump up to whatever your standards are.
Yeah, that I feel that a lot around people when they try to. I call it. To me, I call it vampire. I call them vampires. I call energy vampires, and they'll just try to just drain all this. Don't want you to. Oh man, anything you give them, they want more and more and more.
Well, see, I have another saying in my class, and pardon the French, but sometimes when my professionalism and pleasantries don't work, I'm going to reach you where you're at, and I'm not afraid of the students that are in my classroom. Okay,
Girl,
Okay.
first,
I
first
had
and
I
foremost.
had over 900 of them. I
Right,
did the
you know what I'm
unit,
saying?
but
So it's
we
like at the end of
also
the day, all
we
I'm
also
concerned about is, can you fade me or not? So, I don't care about what you know at this point. So I'm not afraid of my students. So
who
sometimes I
you
have to
telling?
let them know
Who you
that,
telling?
because it's common for the first day of class, you haven't even passed out the syllabus yet, and people want to already know, well, what can I do for extra? Well, first of all, extra means that you have to have some.
But we also have to keep in mind that a lot of these men, because I noticed that with me, even though I am dominant to the T, but I'm always my in the household I'm not. But I realized that being that a lot of men and women haven't been shown love, that a lot of men don't know how to accept that from a woman. And they take that as weakness. They haven't learned when a woman says, baby, I got your back. They haven't learned. They don't know. They can't accept it. So in their mind, I got her. I'm going to get this out of her. And when they get older, they'll realize that was a good woman. But a
Right,
lot of
but
them
with the
are
got
not
your
even
back,
eligible
that means
to
you have to have a
accept it.
back in order for me to get it. You just see what I'm saying? I'm not the first line of defense.
No, but I'm just saying a lot of men.
No,
So
I agree with you.
so a lot of women get done dirty. They get done very dirty just because they try to be that woman for a man who doesn't know, a good woman. A lot of men don't appreciate, like what she said, make a cake. A lot of men don't appreciate that. And then you got some men, the tricksters, the dusties, that all their women bake cakes. So I don't care if you bake a cake, this is how I pick them. So, and one is no better than one is no better than another. See, this is why we need sisters like this to look after. But these men also have to have somebody too that's going to correct them on their wrong. Because from as what I see now, they're glorifying all the wrongdoings and placing the blame. All the blame is on us.
Well, partly that's because they buy these fake narratives that, as I said, the people that they look up to and aspire to have are, the things that they have, which are all superficial.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, I've often told my students, hey, there's nothing cute about a dummy. You can't dress it up. There's nothing cute about a dummy. Nothing. So, whoever told y'all that was in vogue, those people don't come to college and expect something. Okay. So, like I was, trying to say earlier, I tell them that the N word, I said, those people always want you to give them something. Others say, how can I earn or learn, or what can I give to get?
I can't say that enough. Preach it, sister. Preach it. I cannot say that enough.
So, are you going to give me an A? No, I'm not giving you anything. But we can work together in this exchange as I facilitate your learning to help you get your life. And if that equates with your effort to equal this A up here, you'll earn it yourself. But don't ask me what am I going to give you.
And that has to start in your household too. Because we are the first teachers, rather you have a 2-parent household or 1-parent household. I also show videos too. I show what how dysfunctional we are now as a people. We are very dysfunctional because, like I said, the grandparents are now younger. There's no more big mamas. There's no one to pull these girl coattails. They're out there partying with the kids. They're allowing this music to be played in the house, and the kids get slick because even if they want to now this thing called headphones, so now you can't hear what they're listening to. Before it was just one radio in the house or one record player. Whatever mama played, that's what the whole house heard. It wasn't I could tune out her music and just go on there with my music. And then I watched countless videos with parents, which I think is, you should not put that online, embarrassing your kids online, but it still opens you up to what are these kids doing behind your back? And these parents are so into themselves, they're not even watching their kids.
Well, some of them are too busy trying to be friends. So, like, even at the college level, I have students saying, well, I'm just going to call my mama. I was like, well, your mama's not in the classroom, so I'm not really sure what she can tell me. Your mama can't come to campus, and I don't want to hear this thing about, well, I pay your salary or I pay your bills and this, that, and the third, because that's impossible. Okay. Signing a promissory note doesn't pay me, because that means I'm still waiting for my money. And this is not the club. I don't get paid off the door.
And if she did pay it, she's supposed to pay it. But that doesn't mean I'm gonna stop doing my job. My job is
right. But your mother, again, is
regardless of your mother paying or not.
Exactly. She's your homegirl, not mine. And then even with the relationship that I have with my own mother, there are a lot of things about my mom I don't want to hear. She needs to tell her sisters and her homegirls, because I need to, whenever I talk to my mother, to get motherly advice. I don't need her to tell me what my friends would tell me, because that's another thing that I see that's kind of like a breakdown. You have parents who are trying to be friends as opposed to being parents. So therefore, you can't tell these children anything, or these young adults, as they, go and try to live in public and survive. Because what you're doing is you're taking away all their survival skills, because one day you're not going to be here.
You know what? That's how I was raised. And it's sad that the slightest thing you tell your kid now, you're the bad guy, and they're so sensitive. They want you to applaud every little thing they do, even if they're doing it wrong. They don't even want your mothering. They just want you to just sit back and approve no. You're not going to like me a lot of times. I know I don't approve it. And even though my daughter's grown and I got my son, but my daughter, she always has this thing with me because she'll run and tell me something so excited, but it's half-assed. I'm like, no, you're doing this in the wrong way. Oh, you always got something negative to say. No, I'm being a mother.
Right. You don't get rewarded for things that you should do. Like where does that happen?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I cleaned up my room. Well, you're supposed to clean up your room. You're the one who messed it up. I don't live in there. You know, like we got to stop with this whole thing of, you know, because you completed something, then I need to, you know, the heavens and the earth will split open for you. You can acknowledge consistency, but I'm not going to acknowledge just your effort in doing something that you're supposed to do and is required of you anyway. Like, I'm not supposed to be happy because you did it, especially if I told you this is what I require. You know, I'm doing the same thing with my own grandson.
They want I just don't rewards for everything, even things that they
just for showing up.
Or
right,
even
and you have to do more than the desk and the chair because the desk and the chair shows up every day. But I need you to do more than that.
And the stuff that they do wrong, being that some mothers never had control of their kids when they was like 5 and under or 7 and under. When it's time to discipline them, it's too late. Now they want to jump up in your face. Now they want to talk back. Now they have something to say. Then now you want to be a mother. I understand the frustration we go through as single mothers. I get it. I get that these kids, because of the one parent households, you do have a lot of latchkey kids out there that for some reason find their way towards the bad kids. The bad kids become their friends. I see it all the time. I work with kids. These are good kids that nobody's in the household because no daddy's there. Mommy's working. Some of these parents have how many kids? Some of them have 4 kids, 5 kids, 6 kids, you know. And then you got to hear some of the comment I did with the younger youth. And sometimes I just sit back, you know, I'm so short, they don't realize I'm there. And they hear the conversations that they say a lot of these kids are hurting. And now we're going to have what you call hurting adults. So this is where, hi JJ, this is where, thank God I'm going to pull their coattails. But this is where I don't see a lot of more. I'm not saying like I'm the best woman ever, but I'm like, I shouldn't be the only one pulling these kids' coattails, you know. And then a lot of these parents don't even know how to talk to their kids. They've talked to their kids like they're people on the streets and not a mother.
Right. And when you do that, they start to behave that way. So it's like whatever you address your children as. And again, with the language that we use, I've had to pull some gentleman to the side and say, hey, don't call her that. Because when she starts acting like a bee, then you got a problem with that. So, you know, there's a, you know, there are a lot of things that are highly problematic, but I remain hopeful because with consistency and you reaching out and you showing people that you genuinely care, then you can kind of change or enhance some of these behaviors so that they can help, you know, understand that you can make better choices. But you also have to have the communication skills so that when you ask for something or you need something because, you know, you're expressing I'm without or I'm in pain, can you help me, or this, that, and the third, that somebody can give you what it is that you're actually asking for, so that we don't have to go through, like just with my own personal relationships in the past, this whole thing of a trial and error. Because, you know, I was raised that, you know, if you pray, then God will give you what you ask for. However, I wasn't listening to my grandmother when she says, "And baby, you got to be specific down to the toenail." Because God sent me what I asked for to show me that's not what I have for you.
Let me tell you a story.
You see, some of these kids don't even hear God.
Let me tell you, I have a story, right? So I said, I used to love this name. And I always said, and I was 8 years old. And I always said, oh, I love that name. I love that name. Right? And I said, if I have a son, I'll name him that name. I was like 8 years old. And I watched all the movies. I love that name. So I'm sitting on a bus like 25 years later. 25.
Mm-hmm.
This was 25 years later. So me and this lady is talking, and I said, "Oh my God, I used to love that name." And I said, and then I stopped and I said, "Oh," I said, "Holy shit, that's my son's name." I didn't know I asked for that name when when I didn't know I asked for that name when I was 8 years old. But I didn't ask for it specifically because the way I got the name, I didn't want the name because the only reason why he got the name that he had is because he's a junior. I meant to say, Lord, don't send me the man. If I would have, that's why I told when I, and it didn't dawn on me, because he wasn't supposed to have that name, but his father said I want him to have a junior. And that's how my son got the name that I asked for. And now when I teach kids, when you're manifesting and when you're asking for something, you gotta be specific. You hit that right
Yes, you
on
do.
you hit that on the head, Nikki. Oh my God, I
Absolutely.
learned this. I
So,
never said how I wanted the name. I just said I wanted the name.
absolutely, but wasn't specific about how you wanted to get it. So again, when you start listening and you're able to be introspective and retrospective, which takes life's experience as well as time. I remain optimistic because I believe that all of the young ladies and the gentlemen that are sitting in my class are there because they want something. However, they're not always sure about what it is that they want. So I can't abuse the position and the authority that I have by enticing them to want things that will hurt them, on down the line. So I'm mindful about the advice that I give. I'm mindful about the materials that I use to teach them, because I teach writing. So that means that, I don't really have to have a textbook. I can use, other things to help them get, what I need them to get or to build skill sets. So, I'm mindful of those things. And I think that another thing that's important to Shahrazad Ali is the fact that, we entrust our children and our young adults to people that we don't personally vet and deem, worthy of, stepping in while I'm out. Meaning that if they're going to school, they're there 8 hours out of the day. That's a lot
Yep.
of time to do damage.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And they go every day. So you can't look at school like it's the babysitter. You have to look at it like it's supposed to help your children or our young people understand that there's nothing wrong about the circumstances of your birth because you can live life abundantly. But there's certain things you need to know and certain skill sets that you have to have so that better options come your way so that you can make better choices. And
Well,
that's even in your relationships because I don't want anybody to call me a strong woman. I'm a woman of strength, and that is different. That means that I have endured a lot, and I thank God I came out the other side the way I was supposed to. And also
amen.
thank God that you can't see all of my war wounds because it would be really ugly.
See, like with me, being that I deal with 14-year-olds to 22-year-olds. So,
Mhm.
my strategies are a little bit different. Sometimes I have to sit back and see what they're made of, which usually people like hot and I usually deal with like 100 kids at a time. And people want to
Mhm.
know how do you know each kid? And I see the strength in every kid, but I always sit back for the first 2 days and I start putting together, okay, this kid is this kid is that. This is the shy one. Once she get unshy, her shirt started out really long. Her shirt is gonna start to rise up within a couple of weeks, and her butt's gonna stick out, and then her titties is gonna stick out, and then she's gonna. And people be asking me how you know. I be like, I just know what I do, and I always see what they're made of, and then that's when I start pulling their coattails, and that's when I start. They don't know what I'm doing. Like they don't know when I like give them certain because I do summer youth and I also do winter youth. So I assign them jobs. So when I assign them certain jobs, they don't understand. Like when I put certain kids in charge, and people are like, why would you put that one in charge? They don't know what I see. Like some kids have to learn their voice. And I'm glad I get them when they're young. They have to learn their voice. They have to learn where they stand in life. Some kids have never been heard. And some kids come in talking just like this. And
Yeah,
I said,
that's that low self-efficacy. Some of them are defeated before they even attempt it. So if I have to be a coach to help you get self-esteem, I can do that.
yeah.
Because
So
if you go into it knowing that you think you can do it, then you at least attempt it. Because practice doesn't make perfect, but it will make you proficient.
I had a lot of kids that was the back kids. They think they're gonna stay in the back. They think I don't see them. I see everybody. But I let them do that for a couple of days just to fill them out. And then I want to say, is this person shy because they're introvert or is because they have not found their voice?
Absolutely.
You know,
but listen, I have a funny story about sitting in the back. So because I'm Black 365, not just during certain people's birthdays and not just during the month of February, I'm
sure?
Black 365.
You sure?
I tell them that knowing the history is not the same way as applying the history. I said, so although this is an English class, let me show you how we honor those who came before us. I said, so Rosa Parks didn't sit in the back, so you don't have to sit in the back. So while you're back there, I have no idea. You're not honoring your Black history. So my students don't sit on the back row. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever it is that they're doing. I can always find somebody in Black history who they should be honoring to say, hey, you don't have to behave like that because this person did this and this is what they sacrificed. So the way that you can honor your Black self 365 is by not doing that.
Well, what is the age group that you teach?
I teach college students. So whatever age they come to college, some of them come at 17, some of them 18.
But you got some grown people in college too now. Hold up. You got grown people in college too now.
That's what I said. I get non-traditional students as well.
Oh, okay. Yeah, but like I said, I do think, but like especially the younger ones, and then I always like the ones that like I feel that maybe feel like they bullied or gonna get bullied or whatever. Like I'll do certain assignments where I will put them with the students. I'll have them working with the students that's the more popular students. Like I had a lot of kids, their parents used to come with them to work, which they was not supposed to. And they'll sit way on the side. I said, don't worry about it. I got this. And always at the end of the program, they have always said, I have heard a lot of kids say, oh, wow, I'm glad I took the time to know you. But they don't know I orchestrated all of that. I orchestrate a lot of things. They don't know. But a lot of these shy kids now came out of their shell. They learned their voice. They wasn't ashamed or they didn't feel any lower because they were popular. And the popular kids learned how to talk to the unpopular kids. So I made them forge relationships because I had to let them know that, there really is no difference. You feel that way because that's how you feel. You chose, and I hate to tell these kids, you chose to say, hey, these kids are popular and they're better than me and I'm less than them. That was your thought pattern. That was you. That wasn't them.
Exactly.
Then I had to teach the popular ones. It's okay. It doesn't make you no less to go speak to somebody that you wouldn't normally talk to. It's okay to walk on and say, hello, how you doing? They don't have to be in your, it's okay. you know, and a lot of kids I had to make, they didn't know that they were leaders. And I had some kids, oh my God. I said, little boy, if you don't grow up to be a lawyer with that mouth you got. And he was like, oh, Miss K, stop playing with me. I said, I wouldn't tell you that if it wasn't true. He said, nobody has never said this to me before. I have a lot of kids. Once I zone in to their strengths, they literally want to cry. Remember, these are 14, 15-year-olds. Some 14, 15, 16. They literally want to cry because their parents never noticed it.
Well, see, the thing is that what they don't understand is that these skill sets that you're teaching them, which is how to survive, basically, these things go into, you know, when you pick your mate as well, or when you're starting to give people this attention, or, you know, how do you relate to under these circumstances, and why this person as opposed to that person. You start to understand and know what to look for. So it's like one semester I had a student, his mother, oh my gosh. Hopefully she's not listening, but if she is, she did it. So just acknowledge it and move on. Because I had to teach her too. So she came to the institution where I was working, and she says, I had gotten my students started, and I went back down the hallway to grab something from my office, something that was printing, because I don't ever start class late. So she comes up, she was just like, hi, I'm such and such. And I came to bring my son some Bowberry biscuits. And I'm looking at her like, what? You did what? So you drove an hour to bring your son something that he can get 2 seconds from here? So then she comes in and she was just like, well, my son is struggling in your class. Didn't even ask me if I had time to talk or anything. And it's 8 o'clock in the morning. So, you know, she was like, well, you know, when she saw her son came out of the classroom, and he was like, Mom, and whatever. And I said, you know, Mr. Such and Such, I have given you an assignment. So you need to go back to the classroom and do as I asked you to do. So she was a little puzzled when he turned around, didn't say anything back, and went and did what I said. She said, he doesn't do anything like that for me. I said, but that's because I don't get dressed to play. Okay. I don't get dressed up and drive to work to play with people and other people's children, because mine are at home. So she goes, and well, I make $750,000 a year, and I live in $1 million home, and I drive, you know, my son drives a $60,000 car. And I said, listen, and I can't teach your son how to get any of that. But what I can do is help him with his character, because that's why you send him to college, because you can't buy that.
Bam.
That's what's going to make him good enough to be somebody's husband someday, and you can thank me later. And she goes, I can't believe you told me that. I said, well, ma'am, I think you needed to hear it. And, you know, you're here at my job. I'm not at your job. So if you'll excuse me, nice to meet you. But I have young leaders to, you know, to craft.
I have one
by adding pressure.
I have one lady.
Pressure can burst pipes, but it also makes diamonds.
Yeah. I have one lady, one young lady, her mother and her father came up there and missed this, because I told her daughter, because certain days I try to keep the younger youth and the older youth separate.
So wait just a second. Let me say something else about that. So what I wanted to say too is that what that gentleman has already learned that I had to counter is that he's looking at me like his mother. And the reason why he wasn't turning in his work is because he thought I was either going to do it for him or let him slide. Because that's what his mother modeled. But it took me getting to understand his mother for me to stop thinking that this dude has some cognitive issues, because it's either your home training or your brain is not right. So it's one or the other. So I need to know what I need to readjust, because I'm going to reach you wherever you're at.
Yeah.
I'm going to reach you. I'm
Yeah.
going to reach you. So JJ said something like this was a college student. Yes, a college student had his mama come bring him some Bowberry biscuits, and then she didn't even bring enough for the class. So it's like, Miss, what did you come to see? And I was cute that day too. So, you know, it's like, is this what you wanted? Because this is about all I got time for you, because you're not a student in my class. I'm at work and I'm doing God's work. It's a college student.
Yeah, but I had one lady, her mother and father came up there to tell me off because I try to separate the 14 and 15-year-olds because a lot of these kids don't understand. When you 18, yeah, these girls are 16 to 17, you may hang with them out in the street, but that's jail bait. See, these things, I'm very strict with rules. So you have to wear your shorts or your skirt or whatever below your knees. She wore the short shorts, and I started to send her home, and I didn't send her home. And I said, next time I usually send people home, but you stay over there in the corner because the older kids are not here today. But you know you're supposed to. I said, yeah, men look at these. We got older guys here that look at little girls, and you still a little girl. And I thought it was done and over. But the next day, her mother and father came to read me. And then they said, I'm going over your head. And I said, well, who you going to call? Jesus?
Thank you. God is the only person over my head. It's the good Lord, because I'm not afraid of anybody who is on this campus. And trust me, they don't want to see me.
I said,
because
who
I'm going to tell them
Jesus?
Exactly, because I'm going to let them know what all I could be accomplishing while I'm sitting here talking to you about something that I'm not going to change because I did it in the name of the Jesus. Okay?
Honey,
bye.
when you
Good day.
when you see their face, when I said that, well, let me see where it's in the handout. I showed her the handout book, and then she still kept going. I said, excuse me, miss, this conversation is now over. You and your daughter can leave. Her time has been, she don't even have to work here no more. But see, a lot of these parents, because the thing is, sometimes, and you're 100% right, sometimes you have to check the parent because the parent is not a parent. First of all, you knew them kids' shorts was too short when she walked out that door. Number one. Number two, don't ever come trying to read me. I'm helping your kid. That same kid that you're talking about was always sitting in the corner by herself. Ask her how did she get friends. I sent friends over there to her. I have been nothing but good to your child. You understand? But you coming in here trying to read me like you so educated. So you so educated and you all of this. Why your child walking out there like that? I didn't get all into that because once you start raising your voice or whatever, the conversation is always now over. Now you lost me. But sometimes,
I listen. I do everything with a smile. Absolutely.
But a lot of these parents, they always come check me, but then they think about the money that's going to be coming out of their household. Because once I fire their kids, remember these kids get $15 an hour where I'm at. $15 an hour.
Mm-hmm.
So they bring her home, and they used to get paid every 2 weeks. They get paid every week now. So you got 8 weeks to work. Once I fire you, I'm going to put in a call for you not to go to another site. Now they think about it. Oh God, I got to go back and apologize to this lady. This is going to be money missing out my household. Then they come back a whole new entire person. But you can really understand where a lot of these kids are so lacking. It's their parents. It's right, their parents. Sometimes you gotta learn them too.
This, Shahrazad Ali's thing. Again, we have to be more mindful about what we are modeling because, again, and this saying is very old and it's a cliche, but it is true. It's not about what I'm always saying. It's about what I'm doing. So it's like I can't, tell a young lady that she's dressed inappropriately if I'm at work and I'm dressed inappropriately. I have to model what I expect. I have to. And that's the same, that's the same everywhere we go. There's a certain decorum. And because you're part of a community and a society, you don't get to you don't have the privilege of just treating people any way you'd like and doing things your way.
But
You
some
have to be
parents,
mindful of the spaces that you're in and that you are not alone and that what is okay for you might be offensive to someone else.
yeah, but a lot of these parents too, they know that just like if they come to your class, a lot of these parents come in there trying to change your rules and regulations. No, I don't change. If you would like for your child to change, you need to go someplace else. You cannot come up in there telling me how to run my program, what I need to do, how I should act, and telling me about my rules and regulations. That doesn't change because
Well, if
you
your
want something
credentials match
special.
mine, then we can discuss it. But if it
I would
doesn't, then
I
I'm the
wouldn't
expert
care.
here.
I don't have that discussion. I don't care if your credentials over precede mine. I don't change. I put the rules and regulations there for a reason. Number one, I deal with younger kids. Younger children always win. If you have to go to court or something, kids always win unless you protect yourself. How they say CYA, unless you cover your ass. So
Absolutely.
every rule and regulation I put there is to cover my ass. These kids will trap you off. They will lie. They'll put you, and then I have supervisors. They'll try to put the adult. They'll turn everything apart. They'll try to turn kids against you. You name it. I have seen it all. So that's why my rules and regulations don't change. I don't have a problem telling the kid, have a nice summer. Or if I'm doing the winter program, enjoy the rest of your winter. Your services is no longer needed. Thank you very much. And I say it so nice, and I say it so nice and say it so sweet. They are shocked. Because number one, I'm not arguing with these kids. Because the first thing they're gonna say is, well, she did this. No, 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 no. Mm-mm, mm-mm. We will not be playing these games. So even if your potentials over preceded mine, they're still in they are still in my program. So I have to make sure my ass is covered and your child is safe at all times.
Absolutely. But still, even to further that, again, it's about teaching them the social skills so that they understand how we're interconnected. So, for a student that I lose because they decided they wanted to commit a crime or go steal something and this, that, and the third, I had to explain to them how we're connected, how what you do impacts me, and explain to them, economy and things of that nature. I said, I pay taxes, and I would like to think that I pay taxes so that I could help other people who are helping themselves. Because my tax dollars go to food stamps, it goes to welfare, and it goes to prison. So and to education, because I have to pay back student loans. So I would rather help you here than help you over there. But regardless, I'm still going to be helping you in some form of fashion. So how do you
Exactly.
want it? Thugs and pimping and prostitutes, they don't come gangsters. They don't go to college because pimping, hoeing, gangster, that's a 24/7 job. When you're not on your
Yeah.
post and you get caught lacking, that's how these people get taken out of here. So don't come at me with those types of things. And not only that, you are here for a much greater purpose. And I can't let you be a representation of me by leaving my class the same way you entered it.
You walked in. Exactly. Exactly.
So you're going to change by
Exactly.
all means necessary. And I promise you, if you will allow me to, it'll be for the better. And I will have your back as long as you would like for me to. But you got to give me something to support, because I cannot support or hold up air.
And then to
Put
go
some
back
weight
to
on.
but to
And I
go back
got
to
you.
what she was saying too, one thing I do try to do is implement. Like, a lot of these kids is from the inner city. One thing I tell each parent, number one, when people be going, oh, I work with at-risk kids or at-risk youth. I said every child is at risk, not just the ones in the ghetto. Your child too. I don't care where you're from. It takes one puff of a blunt. It takes one drink. It takes one boy to say you cute. And you're just a screwed up teenage pregnancy. The same thing that can happen with the kids that you call in the ghetto. This, I've seen it all. The same thing happens to your kids too.
Absolutely.
So, and then I try to teach the men, the boys, to have more respect for the ladies. And in return, I try to teach the girls to have more respect for the men. You know, I see a lot of these men, that's all they do is talk to girls and trying to get over on these girls. And I have to learn them. I say, I always go sit back. What did this young man just tell you? And then one day, this girl didn't believe me. So I had some of my older boys sit back. I said, "Would y'all please tell these girls what y'all really think about them?" And when the boys started talking, it was like, you know, they at the age, that's all we do deal with girls. You know, they were just saying, them girls wanted to cry because they thought they were special.
Absolutely. And things like holding the door, and, you know, people who know you're supposed to take your hat off in the building and that you don't wear pajamas to work or to class, you know, it's about teaching them those kinds of things. Because I said, you know, as I said, you know, just to make sure that, you know, we're still bringing it home for those who are still rolling with us at this point, you know, you have to understand that your job as an elder or as an adult is to seize all teachable moments.
Yes.
Always possible. I, you know, when I'm walking down the hallway and there's a gentleman, whether he's my student or not, I will stand there until they open the door for me. I'm not going to open the door for you because I'm not helping with whomever, you know, I'm not helping to shape you for the woman that you may marry or, you know, may be the father of her children. You know, I'm not going to, you know, have students raise their hand in class and, you know, the gentleman who may have the answer doesn't concede to the young lady who's sitting in front of them. You know, it's just those subtle things like that that kind of help them out as they are relating to one another, as well as establishing and practicing and fostering, you know, community, respect, looking out for one another. You know, I am my brother's keeper, you know, or I am my brother. I don't tell my sisters, you know, I'm your keeper. I am you. Okay. I am you. The only thing that separates us is God's grace and mercy, nothing else.
And then I also have to teach these kids, listen, I always ask these young girls, because, you know, girls are a little bit mature than men. And as they talking about the young boys, I said, then I go in, how old are you? Well, 16, 17, 18. And they're not this and they're not that. I'm sick of telling these little girls they are the age and they're doing what they're supposed to be doing at the age they are. At 16 and 17 years old, you're looking for a responsible man. You're not going to get it. You need to be 16 yourself. You need to be 17 yourself. You need to be 18 years old yourself. You're looking for love from a 16, 17, 18-year-old man. I mean, yeah, from a boy. They are boys. A lot of these young girls don't get that concept. And then they wonder why they is 16, 17, 18 single mothers. You know, I'm trying to tell them, get your education and live your life, be your age, because they're going to damn sure be their age. They're going to do with kids their age. They are boys.
Right. You shouldn't expect more than what they have the capacity to do. And it depends on what they've been exposed to. You know, at 16 and 17 years old, when you're talking about relationships and things of that nature, what my expectation and what I tell, you know, my students is that, you know, these gentlemen here should make sure that you are safe wherever it is that you go, that you're not carrying heavy loads because they can help you. And that, you know, that you are protected off of this campus, especially if they are there. You know, falling in love and all this other kind of stuff, those things take time. Because as your brains are still developing, guess what? That means that change is gonna come. So what you
Yeah,
like at 18, you're not gonna like at 25.
but
And
they
all
don't
the dumb
understand.
and stupid stuff you did at 18 and 19, if you live through it and you make it to 25, you'll look back and say, gosh, I was stupid. I was dumb as hell. Because you
Yeah,
were.
but
Because you
they
had
don't
to
know
try
how.
everything. You didn't believe what people told you.
But because of these girls, a lot of these girls they don't know what love is, and they didn't have it in the household. So a lot of them look to these young boys, not knowing that these are boys, to be the person that's going to be their light and shining armor. They thinking that when we say a man's job is to love, protect,
No,
and
I didn't say love. I
provide.
said he can show me love by
No,
protecting
no,
and
no. I'm
providing.
telling you, this is what a lot of these young girls think.
Right.
They think because they haven't had it when they were young from their family structure. So when they date these boys, in their mind, they're going to love, protect, and provide. I'm trying to explain to them how much providing you think that 16-year-old is going to do for you. How much
Right. But
protection.
he can
That,
practice protecting you. So it's like if you
but
can't protect, I know you can't provide.
but they cannot, they're not capable, they're still kids and babies themselves. But
Absolutely. But I'm
I have
saying
to
if you
warn
can't start off
them.
by protecting me, I ain't worried about your provision.
Well, I have to that's what I have to tell these young boys, I have to warn them, because some of the girls that I see, you better stay away from that one. That one is you're gonna be a baby daddy, and you're not gonna be a good baby daddy because you are young. So if you're gonna have relations with this girl, not listening, please use protection. Please, some of these girls, they want them babies. I hate to say it. They want these because in their mind, they want the family they never had. They want
Yes,
to
you will
be,
create what you do not have.
they think they are. So I have to tell these boys, see this one, because I know a lot of their parents. This one is having a lot of problems. She's leaning on you because in her mind, you're gonna protect and you're gonna provide, and you can't do none of the above. You find you a different girlfriend, okay? Let this one live. Don't put her through any more mental problem, because I have had cutters. I have had whatever you could name, child. I had the cutters. I had the bipolars. I made up a new one. I had tripolars.
Right.
You name it, I have had it. And these girls, they just they cater to these young boys, and these young boys know they don't. Sometimes you got to kick it to these boys too. Don't damage this young girl even more, because you're gonna do you.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But with my young college people, I let them know, or I tell them that, hey, let me show you a young lady that I know cares about herself and gonna make better choices. And I'm telling you to look at this young lady. You know why? One, because she handles her business, not somebody else's business. She handles her business. Look at what she looks like. You can tell she loves herself by the way she keeps herself.
But a lot of these young boys, they ain't looking for that. They just looking for
So
what
if you
hole
love
they
yourself,
can
then you
roll.
can love somebody else.
A lot of these boys are looking for, at that particular age, what hole they can run into. They don't care what hole it is. They don't even care nothing about you. It's what hole I can run into. But I have to teach them to be more mindful. Be a little
Right,
bit more
exactly. So,
mindful.
and I think that that's a key word there. So, this idea of character, this idea of understanding what your job is overall, and this is what it looks like when you provide and protect, or when you are supportive, or when you're submissive, or whatever, excuse me, along with your mindfulness. Those are the things that enable you to make better choices.
And
And even
it
if you make
saves them.
a poor choice, to let you know sooner than later when you need to get out of it.
And it saves them in the long run, because now I'm helping you not get a crazy baby mama. So I'm saving you in the long run too. Because
Absolutely.
she's not all the way there. And then that stops you. I'm trying to stop them from bringing in more loveless kids because you don't love their mother, you don't love the father. So now that stops more kids from generations of being repeated.
Yeah, these just yeah, the generational poverty, all these other generational curses and things of that nature. So, but listen, I have enjoyed this conversation. I was glad I was able to get through. I have got to get my husband up for his third shift job so that he can continue to provide and protect me. So, and me as a supportive wife, it's my duty to make sure that he gets up and goes to work and gets there on time. So,
So make sure you are subscribed and you are always welcome back. You're
thank
always
you.
welcome
Listen, I
back.
am
I
subscribed. I
truly
subscribed to you along probably about a couple of weeks ago. I caught you talking on someone else's channel. I don't know if it was the T or someone else's channel with this nature boy foolery. And that's when I looked you up and started following you. So
yeah,
again,
but
I
I
appreciate.
do I do both type of contents. I don't just I try to spread my content out because I'm
No,
about
I've noticed that because I've gone back
empowering the
through.
black people.
Exactly. But yeah, I'm careful about who I follow and what I listen to because woo wee, there's some
Well,
stuff
thank
out
you. And you're more than welcome to be a co-host. I call everybody come here my co-host. You're more than welcome to be a co-host at any time. You go get that man up and you keep doing what you do with them kids because you go over and beyond because that's not your job. Your job is just to be an English teacher. You go
No,
over and
no,
beyond.
it is my job because it's my community and I work at
Right.
HBCUs to teach the people who look like me. So it is my job. God won't let me go to sleep if I don't do what I'm called to do. It's
Well,
that
you know what
serious.
I mean. You
Well,
know what I
I
mean.
know that. I'm just happy that at least they are appreciative and that they do come back and say it was that one thing you did for me that helped me understand I need to change the way I move.
Mm-hmm. And I'm
So,
glad you
I'm
proved
working.
that.
And listen, I'm doing all that I can. And I have a great, cohort of colleagues that I went to grad school with and went to doc programs with, and we're out there doing the same thing and we're spread out. So, it's some of us who understand that there's more to college than just an education. It's a culture part, and it's also that manhood and womanhood piece that is just as important as what you get out of those books. So at any
Mm-hmm.
rate, thank you so much for having me. Thank the chat for being patient with me because I can be a little wordy or whatever, but I am very passionate, compassionate, and empathetic about the plight of black men and black women. I really, and our children. I
Mm-hmm.
promise you, I could not make enough. I could not give enough. I couldn't serve enough, to give, to repay the debt of those who came before me. So I am
Amen.
ever grateful and mindful.
Yes.
But I do not let anybody offend the God in me because what I will say is this: you can't fade me. And if you do, you're gonna have to keep fading until I get you back. Anyway, have a good one.
All right, darling. Enjoy your night.
Thank
Yeah,
you. You too.
guys. All
Good
right,
night.
love. All right. But like I said, guys, we have to start deep digging deep inside ourselves for the future kids. We have to start trying to find relationships with kids that we know. It may not be our kids, but we have to do our job. I'm telling you, I've seen it firsthand. Your kid is not special. Your kid is only special to you. Once your kid walk out that door, you do not know what they're going to encounter. I don't care what you teach your kids. I don't care what type of parent you are. How you save your kid is by maybe saving his friends, saving their community. Find out what's going on with other kids. It's okay. Be nosy. It's okay. It's okay to be nosy. It's okay. And don't always think, well, my kid is good and they hang out with good kids. How do you know? How do you know? How do you never know. A lot of these good parents, when they realize their child is pregnant, they hurry up and get their kid to the clinic. So you could think that their child is the perfect child. They were good kids, but it took that one boy to say you cute. It took that one boy to say, oh, you got a nice butt. Oh, you got a nice breast. Oh, you look so good. Yeah, God got y'all. God got a lot of our kids covered, but the devil is still out there too, baby. The devil is still out there too. I've seen it. I've seen it. You got a lot of your own kids who went and got ABs without you even knowing. Okay? Okay? I'm gonna call a thing and a spade a spade. You got a lot of these A+ students. Parents think they are the best. And they friend took them to get an AB because you do not need a parent's consent. You don't need a parent's consent. And they come on home and say they got their menstrual and they don't feel good, but you not knowing they came from that AB clinic. You got a lot of your kids that's A+ students. You don't know that's out there smoking marijuana. You don't know. I've seen it. You got a lot of kids that's A+ kids, and you thinking they hang around the right crowd. They're up in school getting a drink on. We just should be lucky that they're able to keep up their grades. But do you know how many young girls went to that AB clinic without you knowing? And you thinking, oh, my kid is a straight A student. My kid is now in college. You didn't know they was pregnant. You didn't know they was pregnant a couple times. You didn't know. You didn't know. And then you got to flip the coin. You got a lot of these kids that was so good. By the time they got to college, being that they were so good, they effed up. They effed up. You got a lot of kids who stayed in these books and they never experienced life. And now they on depressant. Them the ones you see popping them pills because they stayed A students. They don't know what it is to have a life. They never went skating. They never went to a party. They stayed home. They studied. They did everything mommy told them to do. Mommy thinking they got the best kid. And them are the kids that suffer from depression and anxiety. And you don't even know because they missed out on a lot of experiences. Them the ones that's taking them prescription pills because they suffer from depression because they have not lived the life. You got a lot of college students popping them pills and you sitting back home saying, oh, my kid is in college going to be this and going to be that. And they popping them pills. And you don't know until it gets bad. Then, oh my God, I didn't know. I didn't know when it's bad, when it become a bad habit. A lot of times, parents don't find out how bad or what their kids are going through or what they are doing until it becomes bad. So we got to be careful and mindful. We got to be careful and mindful of, it's a hard job being a parent. Let me just say that. It's a hard job. It's a very, very hard job. One parent in a household or two parents in a household. There is no manual book. If it is a manual book, it doesn't work. Each child is their own individual. You got some kids that's determined and they're gonna be something, then you got some kids that's just ain't gonna do nothing. They just ain't gonna do it. They have no aspirations, no nothing. They just ain't gonna do it. But we will be having more. Like, I used to try to do these at nighttime and do the Nature Boy stuff in the daytime. So we will be having more of these conversations. I would like to thank Red Queen too. I like to thank JJ. It's Me Cinnamon, Royal Pro. Who else is up in here? And if anybody that I missed, oh, Kiana. I'd like to thank all you guys for coming in here. You know, I appreciate you. Thank you for coming in here for all the subjects, Not just one subject, but for all the subjects. I thank you. And I will see you guys tomorrow about 1:30. I don't know what we're going to be watching, what we're going to be learning. We're going to be learning something. You guys have a great night. I thank you. If you are new to the channel, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Hit that subscribe button. Become part of the family. And you guys have a great night. Peace out. Oh, really? I got to check. Thank you, Red Queen. Thank you. I got to go check. But you guys, I kept enough for you guys' time. So we are done. Thank you. Peace out.